Rightio legends, Ozzo is turning up the heat on this one. We are giving away my 79 Series Land Cruiser. And all you got to do to win this thing is click the link, go over and enter into the draw to win my Land Cruiser. Some of you can only dream of winning a car like this, and guys, it can be all yours. So jump over, don't wait, get it now. Stay frothing. How's it going, legends? This time on Froth Bros Media, we're doing a rig rundown of my 79 Series Land Cruiser. Let's go. Alrighty guys, you've been asking for this for a long time. It's been 4 years I've owned this car and I've never really done a rig rundown video. So it's about time we do something, because believe it or not, it's actually sold. The car's going and I'm going to tell you about that a little bit sooner. But for now, let's get into the video of what I've done to this car over the last 4 years and why it's in its final form now. So, alrighty, well, starting off with the front of the car. This is the main piece of every car. It's the first thing everyone looks at. Getting into it, there's been multiple changes on this front end. I've gone through 3 different bull bars, lift sizes, tyre setups, spotlights, everything that you can probably do to a Land Cruiser. In its final form now, I've gone with my own FRP bull bar, spotlights and different things like that. Something to change it up was, I started this car very basic, went the full ARB catalogue, you know, big tube bars, all that sort of stuff. It was good, but didn't work for me. I wanted to be something different. So I went from there, I chopped off my ARB bull bar, I built my own custom 5-post bar that I actually remake and sell myself on the website of FRP. And one day I just got the itch to build something a bit more aggressive, suited to wheeling, more lifestyle, that was what I wanted to do up in the hills and go winching, big approach angles like this, how it's got now, like I can nearly touch the wheel vertically down from the bull bar. And that's where I came up with this idea for this bull bar, and you know, it looks sick, so why not run it? And going on from there, you know, spotlights, they're only cheapies from eBay. You know, I get a lot of shit about them, but I'm not really worried about that because it's what's practical, at what's work, and I don't want to go spend a $1,000 budget on a set of spotlights when I can go, you know, out wheeling for a weekend or go up to Fraser Island. Moving from there, I usually have a 14,500 pound winch in the front cradle. I've only just re-powder coated this bar, so I've pulled that winch out. It's getting a new fair lead and a tidy up before it goes back in. Moving on from there, everyone asks me about these headlights all the time. It's not a 70th anniversary model cruiser. These were ones that I picked up on Marketplace from a bloke that was essentially changing his 70th anniversary cruiser. And yeah, I just snagged them up cheap. So that's the answer to that. I think it's simple. You don't get hassled by police or anything like that for just having a stock set of headlights, and it doesn't bring unwanted attention. Moving on from there, you know, my old faithful GME aerial sitting on a all-day engineering bracket, a little kick-down bracket, just pop it and fold. Easy as that, gives you a little bit of style, whatever you feel like. Going on from there, it's pretty much a basic front end. Going from that, you've got your NightFab's twin snorkels. Yes, I know it's Bluetooth. I don't really care. I'm not spending thousands of dollars to make something functional. It's just OCD that goes on in my head. You know, we start moving underneath. You've got your JMACX suspension, which gives it that really big high clearance, aggressive look. All your tyres and that, which we'll get into more details later when we start getting under the car. And yeah, that pretty much does it for a clean and tidy front end. So let's move on to the next spot. All right, now it's time to take a look underneath the car and what makes it all work. We all don't have X-ray vision, so I'm gonna go get something and make it easier for us to take a look. Let's go grab it. Oh, look at all that flex. There we go. That'll hold him up just nice. This is Guido.
Guido, it's time.
In the last video, you would have seen we've done this little bad boy up. It was a $2,000 ship box. Now it's a $5,000 ship box with a couple of rattle cans. You know, company colours, FROTHIN race parts. Got a couple of chase lights on her. You've seen the video, you know the drill. But yeah, he's going to give us a hand today to get underneath the rear end of this thing and take a look. All right, so this is an easier way to get underneath the car. First and biggest compliment is probably the JMACX Off-Road Solutions kit. You know, 3.9 tonne GVM upgrade, a 7.4 tonne GCM upgrade for towing, 4-inch 35's legal. It was completely done pre-rego, so it's a fully federal Australia-wide legal kit. Means you can take this car anywhere and you're not going to have an issue. That was one of the biggest selling points for me when I got this car. You know, you're spending at the time $70,000 on a car. You want it to be, you know, insured, legal, everything to be done right. And so, yeah, JMACX, their team was great enough at the time to look after me and take me through everything. I paid full retail for this kit. You know, a lot of speculation goes around that, you know, I'm getting paid, or, you know, this is why I'm sporting them so much. They're just genuinely good people that look after me and they care about their customers. So, you know, getting into the kit that I've got here, I went the core conversion because I knew I wasn't going to be, you know, loading up so much weight, but I wanted that full drive sort of, you know, comfortability when I'm, you know, I'm empty right now. The whole car weighs about 3.2 to 3.3 tonne. Pretty light for a Land Cruiser, like I'm sitting under factory GVM. But I've done trips in this in Cape York where we've had cars break down, we've loaded it up with gear and we're sitting at 4 tonne nearly. It's built to handle everything I've thrown at it. This kit hasn't had a single drama in it besides one thing, and that was sway bar links. And you know what, for something that costs the best part of $25 to replace, I'm not mad. When you spend 25 grand on a kit and that's the only thing that breaks, you've got to be pretty happy with what a company provides you with. And you know, it's all track corrected. You've got everything you need. You know, Alpha Series shocks, they provide the best shocks on the market. You've got electronic and manual. It comes down to you what you want to choose. I chose manual, just easy confidence when I'm out bush. I don't want anything going wrong. And yeah, this is it. You know, not the biggest flex in the world. Your shock length's going to govern a lot of that. It doesn't have anything to do with the arms. The shocks aren't built to be a long travel shock. You just want something that's going to work and take up. When you're traveling to Cape York, shock travel doesn't matter. Can it handle corrugations? Can it handle the weight, the towing, everything like that? And that's where it mattered for me most, you know, being a tradie to having a big trailer, everything like that. And yeah, these were the guys for me. So, you know, biggest thing underneath is the suspension. That's what I get asked about the most, you know, what lift and tyres you're running. Well, this is it. Like, go into tyres, I'm running Chinese Yeely beadlocks. I don't think there's an easier way to put it. They cost about $300 a rim. I've had them for 2.5 years. They last, they work, and they're good. Paired with Maxxis Treps. Like, Maxxis are good tyres. They wear quick, they are Treps, they're on the road, they don't balance, they're pretty slippery, but they're great off-road, and that's all they're good for. This whole car got a full underbelly resto about 12 months ago. Got the whole chassis blasted with dry ice, resprayed, cleaned up. It's due for it again, so that'll be getting done before sale. Underneath the car, probably the last little things are like, we've got JMACX bash plates and stuff, which they're starting to bring out now. Like all their underbelly protection range. And yeah, I don't know if I can really think of much more. I've just tried to make it a capable and performing car for what I needed it to do. And it's done just that. Yeah, let's find something else to talk about. All right, so moving into the rear end of the car, this is what we like to call the juicy arse end. Second tray that I've had on this ute, LJFAB without a question. When I bought this car, I got told, you know, typical Land Cruiser things, it's going to be 3-month wait, a 6-month wait, a 12-month wait. It rocked up in 6 weeks. I got extremely lucky, but that left me with no other option to just try and find a tray. There was a bloke, Luke, that had come across on Gumtree at the time. He had a 79 series dual cab tray, steel, basic, simple, everything that I wanted. And I haggled him and haggled him. I just said, I need a tray ASAP. He pulled out his finger and made magic happen. And I got my first tray from him that lasted me pretty much the best part of 3 years. And going on from there, I just kept advertising his business and pushing him further and further to, you know, just keep producing trays. I was his second ever tray customer. And now to come back 4 years on and look at what he's doing, he's pumping out 3 to 4 trays a week. And that's why we went back last year, decided to go something. I went and just said, let's build a design that incorporates every single little feature I want and make something cool that we can showcase his style of work essentially. And then, yeah, this is what we come up with. So the tray complements the body of the car, everything, the detail is so much better. It's wider overall, it's a little bit longer, it's got the size about it. You know, we incorporate some sick exhaust into it and stuff like that. And yeah, let's get into the smaller details of it. So this thing, when I first got my first tray from him, it was steel, it was heavy, it was bulky, it was more a tradie style. This was a tradie ute for the best part of 3 years. And when I started leaving the trade industry of plastering and getting more involved in social media and all that sort of stuff, I was like, I need the aggressive look, I need something light, I need it simple and functional. So, you know, I looked at what's going to be the key features that I need in a tray. Underside toolboxes, these things are absolutely massive. I can fit a camp chair in one of these things, like, you know, big camp chairs, fits straight in there. You've got heaps of storage. Full trundle drawer that's all hidden. I've got, you know, secret latches underneath to open it up. And then the key feature, the only thing that mattered on this tray was, where's the exhaust gonna go? And that was just straight out the top, and we made magic happen there. So, as for rear end goes, Heyman Reese X-Bar, it was just one of those things at the time. There was a couple other brands doing high clearance bars, but I seen this one and I just, you know, I had a thing, you'll pick up things on the ute where it had to be red. I don't know what it was, but that was just me. So I seen that and that sold me. Going on from there, I've got a 45 litre water tank underneath in front of the rear trundle drawer. We decided to recess these filler necks. These are actually aviation grade filler necks off an airplane. Luke out at LJFAB, he has his own pilot license, he's got his own plane, stuff like that. And this was something that he come up with. I gave him like full free for all on the tray basically to design what he wanted. And those filler necks are just, they seal up tight. You don't have to worry about sand or water or mud or anything getting into them. Something simple, easy and good. Single taper flared guards, whatever you want to call them. I think they're nice, they're simple, and they're just cheap and easy to replace because I do bash these up a lot. Obviously, the next big one's the exhaust, and anyone who's built stacks before is gonna know that doing it on a single cab, an absolute piece of cake. But I went and seen KULUIN mufflers, and they somehow made in 4 days fit a full stack system into this car. And as you get underneath, you're gonna see all the intricate bends and parts. They had a clearance, made new tray mounts to make it all fit, and I gave them a bit of a nightmare job. So it's complemented well. Finish off the tray with a bit of deck armour on top, and yeah, some nice tidy tie rails, but it's not bad for a rear end. It makes something pretty basic on a 70 series mine ute look pretty fucking sexy. All right, coming around into the front of the car, the heart of it, the engine bay. It's done a few little things in here, a couple of just necessity sort of mods, and yeah, it's nothing flash. It doesn't have all the bling bits all through it, but it does the job. You know, one thing with this car was I never really chased power. It was always sort of like, I want that reliability. I want to be able to put my foot down and know nothing's going to explode, nothing's going to break, and it's going to take me across Australia without fail. And it has done exactly that. Like, I've never had a motor problem with this thing. It's got a Just Autos tune in it, MPC clutch. I think it's a 1600 Newton meter MPC clutch. And this thing, I went and seen Matty from Just Autos about 6 months ago. We put in I think it's a stage 2 or V2 multi-map. So it's, you know, CAN bus controls on the cruise control and everything like that. You know, everyone goes on about power figures and all those little things. For power on a power tune, this is making, I think it's 214 at like 680. I'll throw a spreadsheet on the screen. And you know, you've got a tow mode, which is, you know, 200, I think 650 or something like that. And it's very reserved. And then, you know, I've got my stock tunes, my winch idle up, all that sort of stuff, your limiters, your launch control, everything to have a bit of fun with your tune, but it's done safe, it's what matters most to me, and probably a lot of you guys too. You want something that you're not going to be walking into a shop going, I want the most amount of power and it's going to be unsafe, or you're going to blow your motor or blow something up. You want it reliable and good. So besides from that, you know, the tuning's great, it works well. We've got the KM exhaust, which lets it breathe really well, being like 3.5 inch up to the twin 4 stacks. And then besides that, you've got the JMACX snorkels leading in. We're only going stock airbox still. The only reason behind that is when I'm traveling, I like to keep either spare air filters on board or have easy access to a fresh filter, especially when you're up like Cape York or in the desert out at Fink or something like that. To throw a $20 filter in every 2,000 Ks, it's gonna just make everything last that little bit longer. You know, everyone says these don't seal up. I've never really had an issue with them, and it's worked for me. Coming on this side, I've got a PDP Red Arc dual battery kit. This was one of the very first 12-volt things I did in the car. Reason being was simple charger. I run a console fridge, a few other little accessories. I've got an Anderson plug to the back of the car where I can put a fridge on the tray and stuff like that, or power a canopy. It's also got a handy feature in here when I show you in the interior. We can actually jumpstart this car off its own second battery. So I've had this thing go flat multiple times. When I was in the desert 2 years ago, the main battery actually dropped a cell, and for about 3 days straight, I was able to jumpstart the car every time we needed to go anywhere, so I didn't have to worry about getting stranded or, you know, alternator issues, anything like that. It just worked. So that was a good kit. It was 1,500 bucks, and it's a DIY kit. You can do it yourself. It's pretty straightforward for the most half if you've got half a brain with electronics. And that just sort of sums up the little things. On this side, I've got the little switch pro, which we'll see in the interior. That just wires up, you know, any accessories through the car. So you're not running 50 cables through your firewall. You've got all your cables wired in the engine bay, one switch in the internal dash, and it got, you know, your spotlights, your light bars, your accessory power, horns, dash camera, fridge console, everything like that off one power supply. On this side, JMACX secondary fuel filter. I think everyone knows in these things, you've got to have a fuel filter. It matters. I had an incident about a year ago where I went out to Kenilworth and I was only probably 50 Ks into a full tank of fuel, and I ended up getting a lot of alarms going off on the dash and different things like that. Turns out I had a little bit of water in the fuel. Secondary fuel filter, dumped that, had a spare fuel filter which I always keep on me, swapped it out, and there ended up being about 50 millilitres of water in there, which you just don't want, but having that secondary filter set off the alarms and solved it straight away. Also another thing that, you know, cruiser guys, you'll understand how heavy these bonnets are. Single gas strut, single strut co. One of the first things I did on the car as well was get rid of the manky old lever thingy, whatever it is. Big heavy bonnet, one single strut, nothing's in the way. You can work on the whole car and get in there. So nice, simple, tidy. We've got a big JMACX oversized brake booster in there. So the car does stop. That's one of the things that come with the JMACX kit. So, you know, you're spending a lot of money on this kit. It's not just lift and tyres and GVM and stuff like that. You're getting a lot of bang for your buck, you know, brake upgrades, brake lines, new rear diff housing, suspension, cradle. Originally the kit came with a torqued exhaust, so 3.5 inch torqued exhaust, full straight through system. Yeah, just those little things that did come with the JMACX kit that I've swapped out for other necessities. And yeah, that pretty much sums up the front of the car. We'll, when we get in the interior, we'll go through some of the multi-mapping stuff with Just Autos and what happened there, and we'll fire it up, show you how all that works and all the specs behind it. So I think next up, we'll jump into the interior, have a look in there, and they'll finish us up. So, look, no hands, she's electric. And auto up, how good is that? This is the interior, the cockpit, as they would say. It's pretty basic. I haven't gone to the effort of changing the seats. I haven't gone crazy and replaced all these parts or done stitching and stuff like that. It's just simple and practical and comfy. Like I've spent, you know, 24 hours straight driving in this vehicle sometimes, maybe even longer, a couple of days at a time. You know, I've lived out of it for a couple of months at a time in stages, and yeah, like it's practical and functional. getting into a few of the features in here, you know, the first one, your steering wheel, you're going to be holding onto it. This is just a CSS 200 upgrade steering wheel. I do have all my button controls working, so that does control my volume, music, answer and decline calls, whatever it may be. Nothing too over the top there. Right here I've got my little switch pro, like I was saying, under the bonnet. So it just runs, you know, front spotties, light bar, fridge. I did have an air compressor in here at one point. Then I had my dash cam, which isn't in there anymore. Rack lights when I used to have the canopy, and then I used to have an air horn as well, which I've now pulled out. Just simple little things that just makes it easier, keeps the car clean and don't have to worry about too much stuff. The other one we were talking about, where you've got the dual battery system with the jump starter. I can just press this fancy little button here, brings everything up to spec, and you hold it down, jump start the car, easy as that. That little thing has saved me ass so many times. It's just, why not have it? It's just convenient. You know, other things in the car, the cruiser console, center console, fridge. This was one of the very first things to go in the car as well. I think it might have been actually in the car like 1 to 2 weeks after I registered it. So it was probably one of my very first modifications that meant a big deal to me, and it's probably still one of my favorite modifications. So yeah, having this bad boy in the car, like, it's only an 11 litre fridge, but what I've found is my day-to-day driving, I could have this thing, you know, everyone calls it my little lucky box. It's got chocolates in there, it's got cans of soft drink, beers, whatever it may be. It's just sort of my weekender fridge. If I'm shooting up DI for the day, I don't need much more than what can fit in this fridge, like a few snacks, a couple of dips and stuff, a couple of cold drinks, and that's all you pretty much need. But when I jump into a bigger trip, you know, you've got I've got the upright fridge, which is 85 litres, got a tiny freezer, but I can also set this one to a freezer. So I used to keep all my meat in this one. So when I went to Cape York 2 years ago, 8 weeks on the road, I kept all my frozen meat packaged up in this thing, and it was completely cold, did the job. And that's all I really needed. If you pack your stuff properly when you go away, it's gonna last and you're gonna fit more in there. So really good thing to have. You probably lose a little bit of back seat room. Your middle person sort of straddling the fridge between their legs, which, to be honest, I've probably had people in the back seat of this car a handful of times, unless we're doing a little run around or something like that. The whole plan of getting a dual cab was, at the time, you know, you think about, all right, it's probably gonna be a 10-year car, you're probably gonna have a family, something like that. And yeah, it didn't really come around to that. I've got a massive 50 kilo German Shepherd that takes up half the back seat. So yeah, that was basically his seat. So he didn't really care much. Yeah, going through the rest of the interior, it's pretty basic, like, you know, gear stick. I've got a phone mount holder, the Off-Road Roam from Cruiser Store. I've done their trims for, you know, yeah, wind noise and all that sort of stuff. Simple head unit. It's just got all your Apple CarPlay. We have a lot of fun with this thing. I've got all my new tracks on there, my HEMA maps. I have Google, everything like that, YouTube, Netflix, all the trips that we've done everywhere. You know, you get a couple of boys in the car and they can sit there and watch a podcast or, you know, YouTube videos, or we've streamed the footy off here while we're on a 6-hour road trip. Like, so many things you can do on these little head units, and yeah, it works flawlessly. You know, UHF bracket, it's all mounted in here as well. I think it's the 70 series bracket. They make a little bracket that goes in next to the head unit here, so you don't have to drill into your dash or any of those little things. Besides that, I've upgraded my interior light. It's just an LED upgrade light, just brightens up the whole car at night time. And then, yeah, it's kept pretty basic. Like, you know, stock seats, nothing too over the top. People complain about these seats. I just think they're coming out of their BMWs or their Mercedes-Benz, and they're trying to complain about having an uncomfy seat. End of the day, you're buying a military vehicle. That's how they're spec'd out as. They're made to go into the mines, or, you know, the Saudis use them for whatever they're doing with them. It's simple, it's basic. They are a Milo tin with a few accessories that are functional for the off-roader. And everyone says, like, you know, you start with a car that's got absolutely nothing in it and you get to build it up. That's part of the joy of starting with a car that's got absolutely nothing. You get a clean slate to modify absolutely everything you want to. Just Auto's multi-mapping. So another little feature in here, you don't have switches and stuff everywhere, all in your dashboard drilled in. It's all on your CAN bus switch for your cruise control. So very simple thing. I'll start up the vehicle in a minute and sort of give you a run through of how it works. But it's simply just go up, you've got 5 maps. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you just keep flicking up and then you tap down to go through them all. One question I did have for Maddie, which probably a lot of people don't think of, what if you're off-road and you accidentally bump this and something happens to your map or it changes out of a map from like, say, power mode to stock mode or something like that? The simple thing is, you just press your cruise control, turn your cruise control on, and it locks you into that map setting so you can't stuff around with anything and change it from there. One of the things I did miss out on was though, he's got another settings on the V3 models now where you've got, I believe it's 12 settings for throttle controller in your CAN bus sensor. So one thing that I missed out on, but it's now available in his multi-mapping where you've got full map settings in your cruise control plus your throttle controller. So no need to carry a secondary plug-in throttle controller. It's all done through your ECU mapping. So let's fire it up. We'll give you a bit of a run through of how all this sort of stuff works. So as I'm going through here, you're going to notice when I flick the lever up, I'm in map 4, that's my power mode. When I go to map 5, there's my lumpy idle, my launch control, so it limits the vehicle out. So you've got a limiter for your launch control, and as soon as it reaches 1 kilometre an hour, it cuts out and goes to your usual revs. Standard power mode, you've got your tow mode, which is just your normal. I've also got a stock tune on here, which is sort of like my party tune. It just throws a lot of soot, which we'll also show you. And then you've also got a hard idle up, and that's just for your winching, stuff like that. And then you've got vehicle isolator cut. And that there, you're not going to be able to start the vehicle at all. It just completely cuts it out. So easy way to have insurance and, you know, a vehicle isolator on your car where, you know, people can't steal it. So let's show you what these maps actually do and throw some soot. Starting at the top, map 5, this is like your lumpy idle, you know, sound good when you're at the lights, whatever it may be. You've also got your launch control. So it holds you, I think it's 2200 RPM. You basically dump your clutch, you're ready to go. That's your race mode basically. Dropping down into map 4, this is your power mode. So this is where you're gonna have your hard cut limiter, all your power for the vehicle, and it sounds sick, like check it out. Gotta love it. And then going from there, you've got, you know, your tow mode. It is nothing fancy, there's no extras on it. It's just a bit more down low grunt without pushing the top of the car out when, you know, you got a load on the back. Coming down into map 2, that's my stock mode, party mode, whatever you want to call it. Like, that's how we throw some soot. Just, you gotta love it. It's just soot, and then, yeah, that's your idle up. So idle up just does nothing special, but when you're winching, this comes in so handy. So yeah, just the little things to have the convenience of, you've essentially got 5 cars in one. You've got all the extras to go have fun, you know, be life of the party, throw it on limiter, everything like that. And yeah, that's why we love it. So massive shout out to Just Autos. They've just made this car a whole different beast of an animal, and yeah, I love it. So you're looking for a tune, go check those guys out. They're probably one of the best in the game, and they know what they're doing with Land Cruisers. Well, that sums up most of the details on this build. You know, if you've got anything you want to know about on this car, or questions as to why I did this or why I did that, drop us a comment below, leave us a like on the video. You know, this thing is now sold, so now you've got the decision's up to you guys. What do I do on the next build? How do I build it? Let us know. It's all gonna matter. I'm gonna take your guys' opinions into consideration when I build the next ute. And for now, this thing's been sold. I'm gonna leave the link below to where you can find out where that's going and what's happening there. And you know, you might be able to go get yourself your own Land Cruiser like this. So that's it for now, guys. Thanks for watching this video on Froth Bros Media. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, and share it to all your friends. And yeah, we'll see you next time. Stay frothing.